All right, boys and girls, I'm going to stay all bundled up in my scarf and stocking hat and jacket in our classroom because it is the season of winter and it is so cold outside. And I did want to show you, I have a cute little winter tree. Look at that cute little penguin waiting on you for when we get back to school. Boys and girls, if you need to go and get you a stocking cap, I want you to put your math brain on. So if you need to put a math stocking cap on, you can stop this and go get you a stocking cap. I bet some of you have some really cute and special ones. Mine's just plain white, but it does have a cute little snowball in the back. But we're going to put our math hats on. So if you want to stop and go get a special stocking hat math cap, you can, to put your math brain on, okay? Because boys and girls, we're going to be talking about comparing numbers and what that means. Comparing numbers means if we have two numbers, we can figure out which number is greater. That means the higher number. And which number is less. That means the lower number. And so we use words like greater than, less than. Greater than means what? It's bigger, it's higher. Less than means the lower number, right? Or if we had two groups of things like we're actually going to look at today, we can figure out which group has more. That means the higher number, or less or fewer. That means the lower number. And so we can use those words, more, less, or fewer, greater than, less than, or some groups might actually be the same. And we would say those groups are equal. So we're going to look at some groups right now. And I have some special friends who want to say hey to you. And I'll give you a hint. They're really tiny. They're furry. One is black. One is gray and white. And sometimes they're stinky in our classroom. Sometimes they make a mess, and they love those things right there. Who wants to say hey to you? Yes, you're exactly right. Gertie and Verdi would like to say hey to you, and they're going to help us do some math. And some other animals might want to meet you as well. Okay, here we go. There's Verdi. Hey, Verdi. Did you come to say hey to everybody? You going to spin in your wheel? All right, now I have somebody else that I'd like for you to meet. We know who Gertie and Birdie are, right? But there is one more person, well, I guess I should say animal, that I would like for you to meet. This is Honey. Hey, Honey. How are you today? Oh, she's gonna come see us. Come on over, girl. How are you today? Oh, she wanted to come and see you. Hey, sweet girl. How are you today? Whoa, sorry. I guess I could back up a little bit. Hello. Hey, girl. What you doing? Now, look how big Honey is. Wow, she is so big. You know, if we compare the number of horses with the number of gerbils, I'm gonna say that we have more horses than we do gerbils because, I mean, look how big Honey is. She is huge, right? She is so big, so we must have more horses than we do gerbils. Yes? No? Honey, why are they all saying no? Look at that. But she's so big, and Gertie and Birdie are so little. See? I mean, Birdie is so tiny, and Honey, the horse, is so big. But wait a second. Are we talking about size? Are we talking about how big the animals are? Or are we talking about the number of animals? Yes. Oh, I wasn't thinking right. We're talking about the number of animals. So does it matter that Honey is really a really big horse and that the gerbils are really small? Does that matter when we're comparing numbers? No, we have to count the animals. Okay, well, let's count Honey. Let's count how many horses I have. Did you count? How many? One. We only have one horse, right? Now let's count how many gerbils we have. Well, we know how many gerbils we have, right? Even though they're not cooperating and they're not coming out. How many gerbils do we have? We have Gertie and we have Birdie. So how many? 2 gerbils. So which number is greater, 1 or 2? Yes, 2 is greater. So even though the gerbils are really, really small and Honey the horse is really big, size does not matter when you're comparing numbers. We're not talking about how big something is and how small something is. We're talking about the number. And so we have to count them. We only had 1 horse and we have 2 gerbils. And 2 is greater than 1. And we could flip it around and say 1 is less than 2, right? So it doesn't matter the size. We have to count things when we're comparing numbers. There's Gertie. Now we can count them. 1, 2. 2 gerbils. 2 is greater than 1. All right, I have a couple more cute little friends who want to say hello to you. This is Mr. Penguin and his little penguin and that cute little Clemson Tiger snowman. They wanted to say hey to you today, and they're also going to help us with our math. And then I have some cute little snowflakes. Look, it looks like we are in Antarctica, or maybe the Arctic, where it's very cold and snowy. And in Antarctica, penguins live in Antarctica, don't they? And so it looks like we might be in Antarctica. And so I have 2 groups of things. I have a group of stuffed animals and I have a group of snowflakes. And boys and girls, I would like for you to help me figure out which group has more. Which group has more? And you know what? Just by looking at this, I think the stuffed animals has more. I mean, because look how tall that penguin is. This penguin is so tall, he's so fat, right? And these little snowflakes, they're so tiny. I mean, look at them. So if I'm looking at this, it looks like the stuffed animals, this group has more, right? Or no? No, we learned that with about the horse and the gerbils, right? Are we talking about the size? Are we talking about how tall and fat and big the animals or objects are? Are we talking about the number? When we compare numbers, we're looking at the number of things. We're not looking at how tall or big something is and how little something is. We have to count and figure out the number of things, right? So let's count how many stuffed animals we have, and then we'll need to count how many snowflakes we have, okay? So let's see. This is too easy for us. Let's count how many stuffed animals we have. 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 stuffed animals. All right, now let's count our snowflakes. Ooh, look at our snowflakes though. They're kind of all bunched up. What would be a good way to try to count these? What would I maybe need to do? Because they're just kind of like they're all kind of on top of each other, and they're gonna be kind of hard to count like this. So what would maybe be a good thing to do with these? Did you say line them up? Maybe line them up. Let's do that. Let's put them in a line so that way we can count them better, and that way we can see what we're counting, right? Wow, this looks kind of like a lot of snowflakes now that I'm lining them up, even though they're tiny. All right, now that I've got them lined up, I can also slide them as I count, okay? So I want you to count out loud with me, and I'll slide them over and touch each one, and we'll count, okay? All right, 3 stuffed animals, and now we're gonna figure out how many snowflakes we have. Are ready? All right, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow. Let's go back and double check just to make sure we counted correctly. That's always a good thing to do. Let's double check to make sure we counted correctly. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, we counted right. Okay, 3, a group of 3, and a group of 13. Boys and girls, which number is higher, 3 or 13? Say it. Yes, exactly. 13 is much higher. It's much greater than 3. So which group has more, stuffed animals or snowflakes? Yes, kiss your smart math brain. The snowflakes. We have more snowflakes than stuffed animals. So now, let me ask you this question. Which group has less or fewer? Yes, the stuffed animals. So boys and girls, don't let the size of those things confuse you, right? Because even though that the penguins look a lot bigger than the snowflakes, we actually had way more snowflakes than we did stuffed animals. Just like with Gertie and Birdie and the horse. Even though the horse was bigger, we actually had more gerbils. And boys and girls, when we compare numbers, we can't just look at how big something is. We have to count them to figure out which number is greater and which number is less than. All right, have fun doing math today. Bye, Mr. Penguin.